Hey guys, welcome back to the Extreme Auxbeam light bar torture test. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, these tests don't seem very extreme so far, but don't worry, we're going to go ahead and ramp it up here a bit in the next few videos. Now today, we've got a 21.5 inch curved 120 watt light bar. Got the 4D lenses, good spot beam light bar, really nice looking light bar. But you know what that means? We're going to try to find a way to break it. Now what should we do with this light bar? Well, I'm thinking we should start out by testing how strong these lenses are. Now when I bought my very first light bar, I put it up on the roof of my razor, and it made me really nervous. I was afraid to go through the woods, have tree branches smacking into it and whatnot, because I was afraid it was going to crack the lens or break the light bar or something like that. I'm coming to find out that these light bars are a lot stronger than I originally thought they were, so let's go ahead and test to see how strong this lens really is. Then maybe we'll smack it around, beat on it a little bit, see how strong the housing is. We'll make it up as we go along. Now I can actually sympathize with this light bar today, because I've got a really bad toothache today, so both me and a light bar are getting tortured today. Now, anytime I plan a trip to the dentist, this is pretty much what I envision. Got all these torture tools here, ball peen, big old screwdriver, got your slag hammer, your Glock knife. So, we're going to go ahead and lay out the patient here and use some of these fun tools and see how strong this lens really is. Alright, just like a trip to the dentist, we'll start with the ball peen hammer. Ball peen side down. Barely got a little dent in there, but it definitely is not cracking, breaking, anything like that. We've got a little bit of a dent. Now let's move over a little bit. Grab our next dentist tool here, the old giant screwdriver. So we've got a bunch of little dents in there, but still no cracks, still not broken. How about the old welding slag hammer? A nice point on there, I'll bet we can break it with that. Move on over a little bit. Finally got a little divot in there. You can see we broke the inside lens though. But lens, there's no big cracks in it. Finally got a little divot in there. How about the knife? Yeah, I think we found a weakness. Probably ought to stay away from big knives. I'd say that's a pretty tough lens though. I mean, obviously this stuff is a little bit worse than a tree branch or anything you're really going to be running into. Yeah, see if I can get my camera to focus in on the damage here. I don't know if you can see, really even hard to see in the camera, but there's not much there. Just a little bit of an indentation from the ball peen hammer, not much. Big screwdriver, it's got a little bit of a dent, some scratches and nicks in it. No cracks or anything. Now that welding slag hammer, get it to focus a little better. You can see I put a big dent in it, a little divot in there, and we actually did break the inside lens because it actually pushed down on that lens enough that it was able to hit that lens and smack it in there. And somewhere in there we got a couple little knife stab wounds, but I'd say that lens is pretty tough. I guess I don't have to worry about hitting tree branches anymore. I don't think any little sticks and twigs are going to break that lens. Alright, here's a scenario for you. Let's say you're walking alone down a dark alley and you get attacked by an Auxbeam light bar. You reach for your gun and then you realize somehow you ran out of the house, you forgot it at home. The only thing you can find in this alley to defend yourself with is this stick, which looks suspiciously like a bow staff. So what we want to find out is, can you defeat an Auxbeam light bar with a bow staff? I know what you're thinking. Now we're just getting completely ridiculous with these scenarios. I mean, what are the odds of you forgetting your gun at home, right? But I really just needed an excuse to bang on a light bar with a bow staff, so just play along and humor me. I'm just messing with you. Let's just go hit this thing with a stick. Alright, all ridiculous scenarios aside, what we're really going to do is we're going to test the housing, we're going to do some impact testing. This is going to simulate a pretty good sized little tree, smacking into your light bar, things like that. And we're just going to test, see how strong this thing is, see if we can break it. Alright, I won't get too carried away right away. We'll start out, see what happens. You get smacked with some tree branches or tree limbs, or maybe plow over some small saplings in the woods. And then we'll just start beating on it and see what happens. I'd say it can handle some small tree limbs out in the woods. Let's try a little harder, see if we can break it. Well, I guess we have our answer. Light bar versus bow staff. Light bar wins. Alright, well there you have it. I guess these things are pretty tough. Still got a broken lens from earlier. That's not from beating on it, that's from that welding hammer earlier, but other than that, got some dings, some dents. Still works fine though. Wonder what else we can do to it. Alright, here's an idea. Now we've done an extreme cold test. How about an extreme heat test? Now, obviously, if we take a set of torches, we can just burn a hole through this thing, like I mentioned before. That doesn't prove anything. We're not going to do that. But we can test the operating temperature, see how hot we can get it, and have it still work. And obviously, if we get it too hot, we're going to melt this plastic lens. And, a little hotter than that, we're going to start to melt the solder in all the circuits, and all the components are just going to fall off the boards. So we're not going to do that either. But on their website, it lists the operating temperature of between -40 and 85 degrees Celsius, which is about 185 degrees Fahrenheit on the high end. So I'm thinking we'll go ahead and heat it up about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Got our infrared temp gun. We'll check to see what the temperature is on it. Get it up to about 200, make sure it still works. If everything's okay, maybe we'll go a little higher. Maybe try and get her up around 250, see what happens. Alright, let's heat it up. There's 205. Let's go ahead and heat it up a little bit more. 324 degrees right there. Yeah, that's it. It did pretty good. Still smoking. Let's see. Okay. Holding its heat this time, still around 290. Now, I doubt you're going to get that thing that hot on a nice sunny day, even if you're one of those guys who likes to run your light bar on a nice hot sunny day. But I figured we needed to check the heat rating on this thing because, I mean, after all, they put all these cooling fins on here for a reason, because obviously heat's bad for these things, and we had to make sure it could handle it. So I'd say it did pretty good. Still working fine. Doesn't smell so good anymore though. Started to catch that powder coat on fire. Started to stink in here a little bit, but well, I'd say I got this thing pretty warm. It's been about 10 minutes since I last put the heat to it, and I was just leaving it on just to make sure everything still works okay. It doesn't, you know, the heat doesn't sink into somewhere and start causing problems, which you can see it still works fine. So I decided it was finally time to pull it down from here and put it on a bench and wrap this video up for you guys. But when I went to grab it, man, that thing is still too hot to pick up even after 10 minutes. Let's see if I can get it here. That thing is still above the working temperature on this thing, which, like I said, is rated at 185 Fahrenheit. And it is still above that even after about 10 minutes of hanging here. It is still a little too hot to touch. So I'd say we definitely got it hot. Even the lens is a little too hot to keep your fingers on. Whew. So I'd say it definitely passed that extreme heat test. You know, it's exceeded that 185 degree working temperature that they got it rated at. So, hey, I'll call that a pass. So we'll go ahead and leave this light alone now, and we'll move on to the next victim. See you guys for the next one.